We have a new American MotoGP team for 2024 called Trackhouse Racing. They're going to be riding satellite Aprilia bikes with their riders Miguel Oliveira and Raul Fernandez. So they're a new American team, which I am absolutely ecstatic about because it's a fantastic way of increasing popularity of MotoGP across the pond. But essentially, they've taken over from a 2023 team, which was the CryptoData RNF MotoGP team. And the team principal then was Razlan Razali. Now, there was a lot of smoking mirrors and intrigue about that team. So let's take a quick look at them before delving into Trackhouse Racing, their boss, where his money comes from, their bikes and their riders for 2024. But who were CryptoData RNF MotoGP team and who was Razlan Razali? Well, he's a Malaysian who previously ran the Sepang circuit and multi-race winning Petronas SRT team when they ran satellite Yamahas. Notably in the glory days with Rossi in 2021, which was the legend's retirement year. His teammate in 2021 was another veteran, Andrea Dovizioso, but they lost their big bucks Petronas sponsorship at the end of 2021, and in 2022 they became the With You Yamaha RNF MotoGP team, still riding Yamahas. Dovizioso stayed on and his teammate that year was Darren Binder. But it wasn't a good year and they finished second to last in the team standings and Dovizioso retired. Binder went back to Moto2, prompting a switch from Yamaha to Aprilia machinery in 2023. Now their riders, Miguel Oliveira and Raul Fernandez, right, and they're staying on this year. But that year the team did improve to 8th in the championship on the Aprilias. Interestingly, though, they finished above the Repsol factory Honda team, which is just a nightmare for those guys, wasn't it? But at the end of the season, it all went tits up for the team because, according to the MotoGP Selection Committee, comprising members of the FIM, IRTA and Dorna Sports, there was repeated infractions and breaches of the participation agreement. Crucially, the committee decided not to select the CryptoData RNF MotoGP team for the 2024 season, which pretty much rendered the team worthless. Apparently, World Championship promoter Dorna awards the MotoGP team seats free of charge and takes them back if financial disagreements arise. The CryptoData boss and 60% owner, the Romanian guy of Ovidiu Toma, Razlan Razali actually owns 40%, and by this time he kind of resigned into the background. But this guy Toma said, this was a bit of an official blurb, we are always approachable and transparent. I can only emphasise that we entered the MotoGP World Championship as a private company in good faith a year ago and bought 60% of the RNF team. Since then, we have invested up to €7 million from our company assets. Dorna also contributes $7 million. The sum has been paid for the good of the championship for the team and to achieve a decent performance. That's what he said, but obviously Dorna, based on their own findings of what went on, decided to award their MotoGP seat to Trackhouse Racing. I kind of feel a bit for the Toma guy because obviously he does love MotoGP, and unless he brings legal action, he's not going to get a penny of the money that he spent back.
But I also read that this issue was sorted out between Toma and Dorna, so we'll have to wait and see.
As far as the riders are concerned, their riders were paid by Aprilia. But interestingly, compare the situation to F1, which is making Michael Andretti's application to join the F1 circus pass through more hoops than a basketball in a game, whereas Trackhouse get 2 places on the MotoGP grid handed to them on a plate. Really in a desperate attempt to make the series more popular in America, although, to be fair, I think Dorna are doing the right thing here because America has a fantastic heritage in MotoGP. I mean, you think about all the American world champions like Kenny Roberts, Eddie Lawson, Fast Freddie Spencer, Kevin Schwantz, Wayne Rainey, Nicky Hayden. I mean, it's just incredible, and that heritage should be built on before it crumbles into history, like the British MotoGP heritage, which was crumbled a long time ago. But anyway, let's move on to Trackhouse Racing. So who are Trackhouse Racing? Well, Trackhouse Racing is owned by 42-year-old Justin Marks, who's partnered with the Grammy award-winning musician Pitbull, who's got 13 billion YouTube views and God knows how many Grammy awards. And he made that tune Timber, if you remember it. That's probably his most well-known tune. Trackhouse Racing was only formed 3 years ago to compete at the top level of NASCAR when they struck a deal with Chip Ganassi Racing to purchase all their NASCAR assets towards the end of the 2021 season. In 2023, the team finished 9th out of 44 in the team standings, so that's not bad considering they've only been going a few years. The newly formed MotoGP team will be managed by Trackhouse Entertainment Group from Nashville, Tennessee, but will operate in Noale, I think that's how you say it, in Italy, in alliance with motorcycle manufacturer Aprilia and the Piaggio Group. So it seems the MotoGP team will be run out of the Aprilia HQ, which makes sense. So although they're officially satellite bikes, it looks like they're going to be prepared right next to the full factory bikes. Justin Marks said in his official blurb, the arrival of the Trackhouse Racing team into MotoGP in 2024 brings American motorcycle racing back to the pinnacle of the sport. With its close partnership with Aprilia as its official factory-supported team, Trackhouse Racing is determined to be a competitive force for the future. All's okay. So, where is the Trackhouse money coming from? Well, it's fair to presume, I think, that Dorna are going to shell out $7 million, because that's what they were apparently doing with CryptoData, but would be looking at Trackhouse to match it with another 7 million. And it doesn't look like they haven't announced any current sponsors, so that means it's going to be coming out the pockets of Justin and Pitbull. But judging by the superstar status of Pitbull, he's not exactly short of a few quid. And by the look of it, Justin is not exactly skin either. He owns a karting facility in Charlotte, North Carolina, a share of the Z-Max Cars Tour, which is a US stock car auto racing series, as well as his Trackhouse Racing NASCAR team, which includes sponsors like Chevrolet, Advent Health, Coca-Cola, GoPro, Jockey Underwear, and others. Now, this is interesting. Justin Marks' dad, Michael, is pretty minted by the looks of it. He's a partner in the private equity firm Riverwood Capital, which has $5.9 billion in assets. He's a board member of GoPro and a minority owner in the Golden State Warriors, which is a San Francisco basketball team. He also served as an executive at Crocs Shoes and the interim CEO of Tesla Motors. So maybe Justin should have a word with his dad and get GoPro and Tesla sponsorship. I mean, they're all global brands, aren't they?
Yeah, just quickly, I'm going to do a ton of MotoGP content this year. So looking forward to the season. It's going to be fantastic with Marquez on the Ducati. So please make sure to subscribe. I'm even going to do some live watch-alongs this year. Thank you.
All right, let's have a look at the riders. Miguel Oliveira and Raul Fernandez. And there's going to be more pressure on these riders than usual, if that's even possible, in the high-stakes MotoGP environment to get decent results, because you have to think that Trackhouse and Dorna ultimately are going to want to field American riders as it seems rather incongruent to have the stars and stripes as a paint job on your bikes with a Spanish and Portuguese riders sitting on them. But if these riders smash the ball out of the park this coming season, then it'll make them attractive to other teams in 2025, or it'll make it difficult for Trackhouse to replace them. I mean, if they get in top 10, top 5, top 10, and they start winning, man, there's no need for Trackhouse are just going to carry on with him, I'd imagine. Anyway, but that being said, let's have a look at how the riders did last season and try and predict how they will perform in the coming season. So the 29-year-old Portuguese rider, Miguel Oliveira, so he's never won a MotoGP World Championship, but he has had 5 victories, 7 podiums, 1 pole, and he's done 84 races. His first MotoGP season was in 2019 with the Red Bull KTM Tech 3 team. He came 17th place in the championship, scoring 33 points. He sat out the final 3 races due to injury after a huge Phillip Island crash, but he carried on with that Tech 3 team the following year on the same bike, and he got his first victory at the Styrian GP, which is Red Bull's home sort of Austrian Grand Prix, and he won again at his home GP in Portugal. So that wasn't bad. And that got him a factory ride in 2021 on the Red Bull KTM factory bike, and he came 14th place, won 94 points. So he didn't actually do as well as he did on the satellite bike, but I think the KTM was a bit difficult that year. And he did get injured, and he had a bit of a roller coaster season. But he did have 3 podiums in 2021, including victory in Barcelona. But he was soundly beaten by his teammate Brad Binder, who finished sixth in the championship. And then he also carried on with the Red Bull KTM factory team in 2022. And he was if you remember back, he was the Rainmaster in 2022. As he romped to his 4th and 5th Premier Class wins in the torrential rain of Indonesia and Thailand. But he was still beaten by his teammate Binder, who finished 6th in the championship. And he actually got replaced in 2023 in the KTM factory squad by Jack Miller. That takes us to 2023 last year, when he was on the CryptoData RNF MotoGP team. And he switched bikes to Aprilia. He came 16th with 76 points. So he got injured the first half of the season. So his best result was a 5th at Silverstone. And then he ended up with another injury that he picked up in Qatar. Anyway, so what about my prediction for Oliveira? All right, well, I think he's a solid rider. And obviously he is a bit of a rainmaster. So if it does chuck it down, he's going to be up there at the sharp end. I think his minimum aim should be to beat the Aprilia factory riders Maverick Vinales and Alicia Espargaro. As by all accounts, his bike is going to be the equivalent of a full factory bike. I think he's going to be pretty excited about that. So, but again, he's got to do something, Oliveira, this year. He's got to do well. Otherwise, he could end up in that MotoGP career rider graveyard, otherwise known as World Superbikes. Now, let's have a look at his teammate, Raul Fernandez. In 2023, the 23-year-old Spanish rider, hot prospect, Raul Fernandez was fast-tracked by KTM into their satellite Tech 3 squad after only 1 season in Moto2, finishing runner-up to Remy Gardner in 2021 after winning a bunch of races. But the 2022 season on the Tech 3 KTM bike was difficult for him, as he only scored 14 points, finishing the championship in 22nd place. 1 place and 1 point above Remy Gardner. Both riders were let go by Tech 3. Gardner headed off to the MotoGP rider career graveyard, known as World Superbikes. But luckily for Raul, CryptoData RNF MotoGP team took a punt on him for 2023 on their Aprilia. And although generally his season was underwhelming, scoring 51 points and finishing 20th in the championship, he did look good at the final round of the season at Valencia, where he got a hard-fought fifth, if you remember that last race of the year. I thought he did pretty well there.
And actually, Raul also did look good at the end of the season test at Valencia, going a second a lap quicker than he did in the race on the factory Aprilia.
So here's my prediction on how he'll do in 2024. So he'll be riding an updated, maybe even like a full factory Aprilia, which will be familiar to him because he was on it last year. And it's his third full season in MotoGP. And this has got to be his breakout. He's got to break out this year, Raul Fernandez. And if he can continue his form from the last race of 2023 and stay injury-free, he's not a big crasher. I think he had 14 crashes last year, compared that to Marc Marquez, who got 29 crashes. And I think he could score podiums in 2024. And again, I think he's excited about riding this the factory Aprilia bike, especially bear in mind he's already been on it for a year. So, okay, well, that is my preview for Trackhouse Racing. I hope you enjoyed it. And, please subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for watching.